Fun in the suns. The sun had been bright and sunny shiny. The grass sweated out like I did when chasing rabbits I find in Mommy's garden. She was off to see a speech by a politician. Everybody was worried about a civil war. Mommy says civil war ain't civil. She says people are being hurted right now because of their skin. Some folks hurted them and they still are hurting. Pa and I stayed home to take care of Grandma. It was a pretty day that day when I got sick. It was my birthday. I turned 5. I was excited for pie. Mama said not to stain my dress, so I wore some jeans. My hair is extra bouncy today. Pa jokes that when the sun is sunny shiny and the grass is wet and sweaty, my hair likes to curl all pretty like the hair of my pretty new doll I recently got. This was all about 2 years ago, I think. Oh, how the children love to play in the sun, Grandma said. When I must have been, I don't know, say 5 or 6, I remember drifting off into daydreams. I had night terrors and sleepwalked all the time too, causing me to be tired during the day. I'd be dreaming that I was playing on a star, just imagining with my mind's eye and my child's heart the rhythms of the sea as they rise and fall as seas are wont to do, and just placing my arms on the windowsill or laying back in a patch of daffodils, soaking the sun and drifting to this place that I tended to find myself in. It was very much like Shantyville, bleak and almost desert-like. But now, Shantyville's becoming no modest place. East Union is falling in a more ill state as each week passes. But anyways, hand me that matchbook, dear. I'll tell you all about this magical place where I dwelt as a child. Grandma Rutledge talked to me like she did anyone else as I laid back sick with fever. Her sweet tea seemed to have changed ingredients. It made me sick. But Grandma didn't drink any. I reckon it's because I got sick. We both noticed Grandma Rutledge's tea tasting funny when we got home. I helped Pa pull the horse and buggy back to their right places. Grandma was going to make a pie. Sadly, I got sick. I love Grandma Rutledge. I love her stories when she tucks me in. How she always starts with sweet tea that tastes normal, but don't keep you awake all night. I wonder if Grandma Rutledge drank tea when she was 5 years old like I was then. 1, 2 birthdays ago now, Pa bought me a rocking horse, and gosh, I love that thing. It's a shame I was too hurting to move. My brain hurted along with my tummy. Mommy is away, but the telegraph station caught fire last night, so I was not able to hear from her. The sky was acting spooky last night as I saw a Klansman in our yard a few hundred meters from the house. Pa scared him off, but we saw a glowy light that filled everything it touched. The lightning bugs are yellow, but this glowy light was green, purple, and blue, and it was no bug. I thought it was too early for morning time as I saw the clansmen in our yard all lit up in the bright night sky, yet having no fire. The clansman made me cry. Thinking about that scary ghost man made me scared to go outside. Grandma Rutledge gave out cookies and tea before promising me my pie. I felt better for a while till my tummy started to hurt, then my head. Thank you, Paula. You're welcome, Grandma Rutledge, I said as I handed her the box of matches. My pa says always show your best manners to Grandma. She lit a cigarette and told me about magic. So, Paula, when I basked in those warm rays of sunshine, I dreamed of a place like a desert but no sand. Just a sea, but not of water. It was a soupy sea, warm like soup, and the most content you'll ever be. I swam in the soup, which was as big and bright as the sun. I swam and swam, and finally I swum to an island of sand that turned into dirt, and the waves of plasma soup never did hurt. Could you eat the soup? I asked. Grandma Rutledge laughed loudly at this. I was almost embarrassed, but she said, No, not at all, dear. It was not for eating, but swimming. The light was never dimming, it seemed, as the light was only beginning. At all times it beamed. Sometimes I could even crawl above the surfaces of the soups. You mean the way that Jesus walks on water? Kind of, she said, but it was merely only true inside my head. Doesn't make it less true, dear. My old grandma said she was going to drink some tea since she didn't think it made me sick, but I know it did. Grandma came back wondering why I was awake. But Grandma, you didn't finish your story. Do all kids get to dream and drift to this place? She said, Dearie, you better get to sleep. Grandma wasn't Grandma anymore. I now call her Mrs. Rutledge because that ain't my grandma. Pa would never think his mommy to be evil, but that ain't his mommy. No, Pa, I wanted to say. But after she drank the bad tea that makes your tummy hurt, her eyes changed color. So did her voice. Plus, Grandma would never stop mid-story like that. Story time is at least 2 hours every night. I'm afraid Mommy isn't going to come home. Mrs. Rutledge built a basement garden of ferns. It's so strange how hot and muggy it is in there, like a jungle or something. She buys these lion statues all the time, and Grandma Rutledge was deadly scared of snakes, and I see her now in Grandma's body as someone else who hurted my grandma and took her place. But she now talks to rattlers and copperheads like a man talking to a cat. I hope Grandma and Mommy come home. Mrs. Rutledge killed my pa today. Here I thought it'd be the war that killed him. He died from the sweet, relaxing tea. I don't know what that thing is inside Grandma, but it ain't good. I drift like she told me to before her possession, and I see my real Grandma swimming with me in the white light soup of plasma. One time my real Grandma talked to me in a daydream. She told me to stay away from Mrs. Rutledge. We swam around, splashing and having fun. She said snakes are her holy creature, and that lions are good friends at times. But mostly she skips rocks in the soupy sea of goo we swam around in. Mommy finally came back describing some things about the sun, and I couldn't remember the details, but it had to do with the telegram machines. Something about wind on the sun, which wiped those machines out. I couldn't really understand it myself. Mommy and I now live far away from Mrs. Rutledge. Mommy said Grandma got old and senile overnight, but I told Mommy the truth about how her eyes had gone black with no whites in them, how her voice sounded like a monster lived inside of her, merely controlling her body. Mommy said I shouldn't tell lies even though I seen it with my own eyes. So I don't tell Mommy anything about Grandma anymore. She lives alone and she's old, and Mommy said it won't be long till Grandma dies. What's sad is that I think she already is. I talked to Grandma one night as I slept. We were sun drifting, swimming in the soup, when she told me about how proud she was to have me as a granddaughter. She then said, "Meet my friend." This tall, pale, bearded man had hair all white and a patch covering one eye. "Grandma, is he a pirate?" "Ha! No, you're a pirate." The man was goofy. "This is old Odin of White, but he's no longer the Norse god we all know and worship anymore. He's moved on to another state of being. He used to be immortal, then he was immortal, but now he's a child again, just like you, Paula." Grandma Rutledge looked over at him as his eyes turned black, and he said, "Child, evolving." He then jumped up into the air and said, "Omniscient." Yes, you're a CEO." Grandma laughed, not seeing the horror in my face. His eyes turned black, just like yours did when you got possessed." "Yes, I'm afraid the CEO has taken my body as a worldly avatar. It allows them to experience time and space like I used to, Paula, like you do." Grandma sounded sad, but lightened it up by telling me about CEOs. They live in the stars, which are their nests, and their kids that used to be gods or goddesses like Freya. It made me wonder if I was also a child evolving omniscient. "No, dear, you're a mortal child. Someday you will become another mortal child, and another, until all time and space ends its cycles, and you transcend this plane outside of time and space. It will be then that you will be a goddess." "Grandma?" "Yes, child." "Will I ever see you again?" I wanted to cry, but I needed to be a big girl for Grandma. "Maybe, but we won't know each other like we used to. But remember, I am always in your sunniest of dreams." Grandma's words delighted me. It was like story time all over again, but beyond the grave, even though Mrs. Rutledge ain't dead. According to Grandma, that CEO that possessed Grandma's body is actually being guided by alien immortals from other planets. That was when Grandma and old Odin of White drifted away, floating on the sea of soup. They fell asleep in my dreams, which Grandma said are true, at least in my head. They drifted away in that soup, the primordial jelly and sauces. It contained souls and solar plasma. It's a lot for a young girl like me to keep up with. I turned 7 today. That was 2 years ago, when I was 5. Mommy bought me a new doll I recently got, and it's one I really love. I named it Kali. She's named after a Hindu goddess of time and creation. Grandma introduced me to her one night, but now Grandma no longer talks. She is busy as an immortal, she says. She won't tell me who.